Welcome back, everyone, to Midnight Disclosure. We're happy to have you join us tonight as we float together into another elusive tale that skirts the boundary between dreams and reality. So, before your eyes get heavy and sleep pulls you in its soft tide, sit back, inhale deeply, and allow us to guide you into the most elusive UFO and alien sightings ever documented throughout the United States. This isn't just folklore. These are the stories that have haunted witnesses, baffled scientists, and left behind more questions than answers. Tonight, we'll explore the accounts that shaped history, encounters that were buried in secrecy, and testimonies that still echo in whispers across the desert skies. So let's start with the land itself, the open skies of America. From the woods of the Pacific Northwest to the endless plains of the Midwest, from remote highways in the Southwest to the suburban outskirts of New England, every part of the country has its own tales, and each of them, in some way, brings us back to one haunting question. Are we alone? The 1947 Roswell incident, America's defining UFO mystery. We have to start where all contemporary UFO tales appear to keep returning. New Mexico, Roswell, 1947. Picture desert heat radiating in July, the little town quiet and still. Then, just as suddenly, a rancher by the name of Mac Brazel stumbles upon wreckage all over the ground. Unusual metal debris, beams that are incredibly light, sections that will not bend or burn. The explanation officially, a weather balloon. But that never had any appeal for the multitudes who've researched Roswell ever since. Witnesses spoke of substances that acted like nothing they had ever encountered. Some remembered sheets of foil-like stuff that would only crinkle, rebound to a perfect smoothness. Others spoke of bodies that were recovered, small, fragile creatures, hardly like men. In short order, military convoys arrived, the debris was collected, and quiet filled the place of inquiry. Roswell has grown from a phenomenon. It is now an icon of secrecy. The day America first started to wonder if something truly out of this world was lying just out of reach. Researchers, journalists, and even military personnel have stepped forward for decades, each adding more pieces to the puzzle. Fact or fiction, Roswell is still the foundation of America's UFO fascination. The Washington, D.C. UFO wave, lights over the Capitol. Now imagine this. It's July 1952. The capital city is drenched in summer heat. Abruptly, radar operators at Washington National Airport start picking up something unusual. Blips on their screens moving, disappearing and reappearing, gaining speed in ways no plane should. Then suddenly the calls begin. Pilots, police, civilians, all describing the same phenomenon. Bright lights streaking across the nighttime sky right above the White House and the Capitol. The fighter jets are scrambled, but every time they get close, the objects disappear, only to reappear elsewhere. 2 weekends in a row, the skies over the safest city in America buzzed with unidentifiable objects. Tabloids splashed it on front pages. The Pentagon convened press briefings, and still no response materialized. The official story was temperature inversions, a weather anomaly that duped radar and the naked eye. But for those who beheld the lights with their own eyes, nothing in that account felt credible. Picture the unease. If mysterious craft could materialize over the hub of American power with the world watching, what did that indicate? About control? About security? About the truth the public wasn't receiving? The Lonnie Zamora sighting, the policeman's encounter. Jump forward to 1964, New Mexico, a small desert town, so small that everyone knows each other. On the afternoon of April 24th, there was local police officer Lonnie Zamora in pursuit of a speeding vehicle when he saw suddenly a roar and a flash of flame in the distance. Intrigued, he gave up the chase and drove towards the vision. What he discovered has been one of the most authentic UFO sightings in American history. There, on the ground of the desert, sat a shiny thing, egg-like, metal, on landing struts. Close by, Zamora said he had observed 2 little men in white jumpsuits. The instant they spotted him, the creatures vanished into the vessel. A deafening roar resounded in the air, the object took off, and in seconds, it was no more. U.S. Air Force Project Blue Book investigators rushed to the scene. They found burned earth, ground indentations where the landing gear had touched, and charred brush. This UFO was not like many of the others because it had tangible evidence. Even skeptics couldn't deny that Zamora, a reliable officer with no reputation for wild stories, had nothing to gain by inventing this tale. The Lonnie Zamora sighting is one of the most inexplicable and well-documented UFO sightings in United States history, one that continues to intrigue researchers to this day. Sleep deeply, dream widely. As you sleep tonight, transport yourself to those deserts, under those skies. Envision what it was to look at something otherworldly float, burn, or disappear into the stars. All these events left silence, open questions, and an understanding that the world is much greater than we have been informed. Roswell, Washington, Socorro, the desert remembers, and so do those who witnessed the impossible happen. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction, the first. It was 1961, a September evening in New Hampshire. Betty and Barney Hill, a married couple, were returning home on a desolate road after visiting Canada. It was a peaceful night until Betty saw a strange light in the sky. Initially, it appeared to be a star, but then it started moving, darting, tracking, getting nearer. Barney pulled over the car. He saw something unbelievable through his binoculars, a vehicle floating low with lines of windows. In it, he could have sworn that he could see people observing. Panic began. The couple drove off frantically, and yet somehow they both lost 2 hours of their memory that evening. They later told the same terrifying story, under hypnosis, being brought on board the ship, probed by creatures, having charts of the stars displayed. Betty told of a map featuring the pathways between star clusters. Years later, astronomers pointed out that she had accurately described Zeta Reticuli, a double star system no one had mentioned then. Skeptics dismissed it as imagination, stress, dreams, but to believers, Betty and Barney Hill were the first contemporary abductees, the trailblazers of a tale told and retold many times since. The Phoenix Lights, a city in shadow. Fast forward to March 13, 1997. Throughout Arizona, from desert to Phoenix suburbs, thousands of citizens, pilots, ordinary people, even the governor, looked up and saw something impossible. A procession of lights extending across the horizon, quiet and gradual. To others, it appeared as a gigantic triangular vehicle blocking out the stars themselves. It hung, drifted, and then disappeared into darkness. Phone lines clogged with calls, news channels scrambled. The numbers of witnesses made it one of the biggest mass UFO sightings in history, and the official explanation was military flares dropped. But question those who stood under it. They will say it wasn't flares. They will say they could feel the presence of something above them, something bigger than any man-made vehicle. To this day, the Phoenix Lights continue to be one of America's most well-documented UFO sightings. Evidence, perhaps, that when the unseen desires to be noticed, it shows itself, not to one, but to many. Pilot encounters, masters of the air. For skeptics, the account of civilians may be discounted, but what of the evidence of pilots, men and women who have been trained to recognize each glint, each movement, each noise in the skies? Through the decades, thousands of military and commercial pilots have witnessed strange objects, lights that follow their airplanes, discs that shoot by them at impossible velocities, or objects that don't obey the laws of physics. One of the most spine-tingling is from 2004 off the California coast. Navy Commander David Fravor flew a fighter jet toward a radar blip. What he encountered was dubbed the Tic Tac UFO. A pill-like white object sped over the sea, behaving in ways no aircraft was known to, levitating, plunging, surging instantaneously. Fravor and his co-pilot pursued it, but it eluded them with ease. It was later filmed on infrared footage. That film remained classified for years, but rattled even cynics hardened by a lifetime of dismissing UFO claims. For pilots, the skies are their domain. When they tell us something isn't ours, isn't explainable, it carries weight. And America's skies, time and again, have held objects that mock our technology. Government secrecy, the silence between words. And yet, in the midst of it all, the silence from authorities is still deafening. The U.S. government has consistently denied any awareness of extraterrestrial vehicles, dismissing witnesses, covering up evidence. And yet, documents leak out, heavily redacted, suggesting investigations and unidentified aerial phenomena. Project Blue Book during the 1950s, the Pentagon's clandestine AATIP program during the 2000s, now even congressional official hearings. Again and again, the government acknowledges the phenomenon to be real, but never what they're happening. It leaves us adrift in the same spot as the witnesses, knowing something is there, but being denied the facts. Sleep deeper into the mystery. As you sleep further into tonight, consider the hills along that deserted New Hampshire highway, the lights across Phoenix, the pilots pursuing impossible forms. These tales resonate over decades, over generations, telling the same truth. We are not alone. The USA has secret skies, deserts, roads, and hangars full of secrets. And in every one of these locations, individuals have witnessed more than they were supposed to. But the oddest, most haunting encounters still linger. In the Utah desert, there exists a site that some refer to as the strangest place in America, Skinwalker Ranch. On its dusty plains, UFOs are but one part of a horrific jigsaw puzzle. For years, ranchers made reports of glowing lights in the fields, precisely surgical mutilations on their cattle, and noiseless craft screeching overhead across the mesa. But that was not all. Shadows moved where no one was present. Glowing spheres pursued animals. Doors slammed shut without wind. The U.S. government secretly subsidized research here under a program to investigate unexplained aerial phenomena. What they uncovered was never disclosed, but leaked documents talk of interactions beyond UFOs, interactions that bled into the paranormal. Was it all the same phenomenon? A single presence manifesting in various forms? Or was Skinwalker Ranch a portal, a thin place between our reality and another? Underground secrets, Dulce, Wright-Patterson, and beyond. If America has spotted UFOs, where do they vanish? Some whisper secrets of covert bases far beyond Area 51. In New Mexico, rumors still abound of Dulce Base, an underground complex said to contain not only alien technology, but biological experiments too outlandish to whisper aloud. Whistleblowers report tunnels extending miles, guarded and sealed, where the deepest UFO secrets are researched in silence. And then there's Ohio's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Area 51 didn't become popular until much later, but Wright-Pat was long rumored to be the real repository of extraterrestrial evidence. Some claim Roswell debris and bodies were shipped there. Its Hangar 18 is still one of the most enigmatic buildings in military legend. Are these mere myths superimposed on military experiments? Or are they the treasure houses of a secret history? Our history, remade, part by part, craft by craft. Modern sightings, UFOs in the 21st century. The USA's UFO encounters are not limited to the past. In the latest years, the encounters have only become more intriguing. Navy pilots, radar technicians, and intelligence officers have given sworn testimony that they've observed unexplainable objects. The Tic Tac UFOs, the glowing balls off the East Coast, the objects plunging into the ocean with no splash, all recorded on radar, video, and eyewitness testimony. And yet, despite all the proof, the solutions lie concealed. Congress conducts hearings now. The Pentagon concedes UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, are real, but nobody will tell what they are. Are they drones? Foreign advanced aircraft? Or something much older, much more bizarre? The silence of the powerful renders the enigma greater than ever. Why the silence? Why lie about what so many have witnessed? They say it's fear. Fear of panic, fear of undermining confidence in institutions, fear of losing control. Others claim it's power. That technology, if it were made public, would revolutionize energy, transport, even warfare. And that keeping it secret is to have the future in one's hands. But perhaps the truth is more difficult to endure. That we are not the apex of the hierarchy, not singular in the air, and perhaps not the captains of our own fate. Rest now, dream of disclosure. As you float now into sleep, remember the deserts, the highways, the American skies. Remember the thousands who have witnessed lights beyond explanation. The abductees who attest their tales are true. The pilots who pursued objects that exceeded thought. The witnesses who glanced up and felt small under the unexplained. The USA is a country of secrets, and hidden in those secrets is something we've yet to understand. But on some night, perhaps not so far away, the quiet will be shattered. Sleep now. Slow your breathing. Let mystery sweep you into dreamscapes where the sky is coalesced with light and form. You are safe here, dreaming, listening, waiting to be told. And when you wake up, recall, the tales never end as tales.